when you look at these numbers of cloud compute, you wonder, well, what do you see? Welcome to the Drill Down Earnings, a quick look at the latest earnings from Microsoft. This is the business story behind one stock on the move. I'm Futurum Group's Chief Market Strategist, Cory Johnson, with Microsoft earnings. A quick look. Why? Well, important, what they call fiscal second quarter earnings, but it's the last quarter of the calendar year. Look, Microsoft reported fiscal 2024 second quarter earnings, and they were good. Now, Wall Street likes the terminology of a beat or a miss, and yeah, this was a beat, but we want to dig into the biggest business here, not just the miss or the beat. And here's what the actual numbers were. Microsoft sales up 16% year over year to $62 billion in the quarter. Operating margins of 44%, and profits, yes, net income, a fantastic $21.9 billion, up 33% year over year. Let's look a little bit deeper into what was going on in Microsoft's business. All right, so revenue of $62 billion, that's 18% growth. Yeah, in constant currency, 16%. I'm not going to get into currency stuff. $62 billion. Gross margins of 68%, giving them a gross margin profit of $42.4 billion. But maybe most importantly, net income, $21.9 billion in the quarter, up 33% from the previous year. And let's go a little bit deeper. Microsoft Cloud revenues hitting $33.7 billion, up 24% from the previous year, and really fantastically profitable, 72% gross profit margin. So the growth is really strong, and it's accelerating. A year ago, that growth rate was 22%, now at 24%. A really big business, very profitable business, and growing faster. I could say the stock ended up kind of flat after hours, but it was a very exciting way to get to flat. Look what happened in the trading in the last few hours. It was up right away when the Google numbers came out, even before we saw the Microsoft numbers out. Then it was down when the Google ad numbers got a closer look. And then Microsoft's conference call started, and it was up again. And then it was down a little bit. So exciting trading in the after hours. But boy, when you look at the last year, what a year for Microsoft. 65% growth for the full 12 months. And, already year to date, up 9%. So a really big move in this company, real change, recognizing what AI is doing to Microsoft. And indeed, AI and the big cloud numbers. Let's look at this. But look, here's the big question going into Microsoft earnings right now. Was the spending in AI? Yeah, okay, the number's good. That was what was predicted. But is it about the early stages of AI? Is it the training? Or is it the inference? So training is the process of feeding large amounts of data into the model, and then you mess with it and you try to find some patterns and correlations in the data, and that requires tons of computational resources and time. On the other hand, AI inference is when you use that trained data. You make predictions or perform tasks based on the new information that is available to you because of all the training that happened beforehand. So during inference, the model uses what happened during training. Training gathers the data, inference uses it. So that's the question right here. The big hope is, have we gone from the training phase of our lives in AI to the inference, the usage phase of AI? And when you look at these numbers of cloud compute, you wonder, well, what do you see? Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella tells us.
Just on the inferencing and training, what you're seeing for most part is all inferencing. So none of the large model training stuff is in any of our Azure numbers at all. Small batch training, so somebody's doing fine tuning or what have you, that'll be there, but that's sort of a minor part. So most of what you see in the Azure number is broadly inferencing. I think it may be helpful to sort of think about what is a new workload in AI? The new workload in AI, obviously, in our case, it starts with starts with the frontier model, Azure OpenAI. But it's not just about just one model, right? So you take that model, you do RLHF, you may do some fine tuning, you do retrieval, which means you're sort of either hitting some storage meter or you're hitting some compute meters. And by the way, you'll also distill a large model to a small model, and that would be a training perhaps. But that's a small batch training that uses essentially inference infrastructure. I think that's what's happening. So you could even say these AI workloads themselves will have a life cycle, which is they'll get built, then they'll be continuously optimized over time. So that's sort of one side. And I think last quarter we said, we are going to continue to have these cycles where people will build new workloads, they will optimize the workloads, and then they'll start new workloads. So I think that that's what we continue to see. But that period of massive, I'll call it optimization only, and no new workload start, that I think has ended at this point. So what you're seeing is much more of that continuous cycle by customers, both whether it comes to AI or whether it comes to the traditional workloads.
So yeah, it's on. Microsoft customers using AI now, and they're using the model created by OpenAI, perhaps justifying the billions that were spent by Microsoft in acquiring usage of that OpenAI model. All right, what does it all mean? The big drill down takeaway on earnings, and one number that means a whole lot? We'll give you that after this quick break.
The Drill Down is brought to you by the Futurum Group, where analysts, researchers, advisors, content creators, and marketing experts help business leaders anticipate and understand shifts in their industries and build strategies to leverage disruptive innovation. With deep analysis, Futurum Group's extensive industry experience delivers reliable research and data, thought leadership, and actionable advice to help you with your strategy and go-to-market efforts. Futurum Group.
All right, here's your takeaway. Microsoft, great quarter in the face of high expectations. Sales up 16% year over year to $62 billion, and profits up 33% on a year over year basis for the fiscal fourth, or for the calendar fourth quarter, I should say, up to $21.9 billion in the quarter. So great numbers, accelerating growth in the cloud business especially, and CEO Satya Nadella tells us that AI inference is happening now, and I promised you, the drill down earnings bite one number that tells us a whole lot. Here's that number, $16.890 billion. Yeah, that's the size of what Microsoft calls their more personal computing business. Okay, it's the stupidest name ever. They couldn't just call it personal computing. No, it's more personal computing. But it does include games and Xbox. And yeah, Windows OS. Remember that thing? Well, that's growing at 29% year over year in the third quarter. Now, a lot of that is from the acquisition of Activision, but there's also 11% growth in Microsoft Windows OEM business. People are buying computers with Windows on it. It's good business for Microsoft, and the result is the more personal computing business, $16.89 billion in the quarter. All right, thanks for listening to the Drill Down Earnings. I'm Cory Johnson. The Drill Down Earnings, I said, the Drill Down Earnings, part of the 6-5 Media Group.